hear it when I'm in preparation for work. I'm like, I feel like
I say I hear it when I'm sleeping. So
I don't hear it when I'm sleeping. I don't
okay.
listen to it enough. Maybe I will.
Not
Maybe
yet.
it'll be like I have 20
Because
seconds.
the future is now.
Maybe the future is now. Maybe it's.
I missed that song.
What was the Parker one? What was the
what?
What do you call next? That one?
What does it take to call next? Or join us in the next episode or second episode or whatever it was.
What does it
Yeah,
take
we have a couple though. Yeah, I don't know. He still didn't tell us.
We'll never know.
I'll start asking him every day until he answers me what it takes to call next.
He gets mad when you ask him what does it take to call next. Not that I know from a personal history of asking him, but...
So everybody that's watching at home currently, totally do not tweet out. Totally do not tweet out to him.
Oh, no.
Asking what it takes to call next.
Oh, no.
So do not go, hey, at Intero, what does it take to call next?
Oh, no.
Don't do that.
When does it take? Nobody asks why.
Why does it take to call next? Yes. Totally go for that. Totally don't go for that. Don't go for that. Sorry. No.
Ying, Zami, Mira, Thatcher, Oregon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And laundry room and supply.
And laundry room and supply.
Starting off in the basement. Doing a laundry.
It's a fair removal. I mean, the Azami, you know, we've seen it as a tool used by pretty much everybody. It's not like it's a specific removal against anyone. G2 are quite good with an Azami. I'll give them
Might say it's because their skin.
Perfect timing for that skin advert. When I make the point,
directly supports G2.
So by
want to be paying for Doki's salary.
It's like a personal attack towards the G2.
Yeah.
I see the game.
It's attacking their salaries right now is what they're doing.
Fair enough.
So it's a different kind of way to go at them. Mentally. Mental warfare. It's all what it's all about.
Talking of mental warfare, now that we've sort of had that map get so close, who do you think it works better for? Obviously, as I said on the desk, for the side of Skyscraper going well for Virtus Pro, they've got a lot working there. But also, it stretches both these teams out. It's an exhausting, long-run fight where towards the end, obviously G2 took it, which sort of heralds and signals the idea that they had a little bit more energy in the banks. They came back from a 3-5 deficit to win it in max OT. Is that something that's going to cook with them a little bit more momentum?
So it was that big question. The thing about Oregon as well is it's like one of those basic maps, right? It's basically on the same lists as a clubhouse, I would say. It's like it's been in siege for a very long time. It's been slightly reworked as G2 gets the first kill. Doki finds Dan. So it's not only going to be like who has more gas left in the tank, but it's also like who's going to be able to just respond quicker to whatever the other team tosses up, and who's going to be a bit sharper on these executes and the gun game in general. But that's often what it comes down to.
Joystick for a steady clear, cutting himself through the middle here. They're obviously at the body disadvantage, and they wanted to find Doki loose, but they've all retreated back, got the entry body, and headed back towards the site itself. There's still a lot of time here, and if you are caught out, especially around that sort of stage and meeting area, you can get isolated and cut off by multiple different directions. So you got to make sure that if you're in and you're out, you're definitely out in time. There, the long angles, the bulletproof, and the ideas on the players. They're watching, they see the feet, they see the sort of tuck and the roll and the motion of the players. They want to see if they can try and force a backline, but running directly into Freezer would be a bit of a death sentence.
You don't want to just directly run in. You need to wait for slightly a little bit, get some extra information out. Drones are there. Hatches are opened up now. VP, what's your next move? What are you gonna do? You're gonna start descending down the stairs. What Joystick's doing, trying to find a kill around the pillar. That's exactly what he does. And that's Blur taken out. There's going to be one or two more players around there, though, that he could potentially try and challenge and skirmish with. But more importantly, is it going to be safe to actually go for Hatch? Drops out there. Joystick goes in again. A grenade rolls through. Elam out, just escaping with his life out there.
Well, now is he going to try and retake the stairs itself? Doki with an important first fight. Swings back to the Shiko position. Gets blinded and leans in first. for his third of the round. 20 seconds, 2 versus 4. They drop themselves into the smoke. They got to take a bit of damage if they want to make the motion behind it, but the C4 is the full stop to a smoke-filled sentence. There's at least a down, but not the finish, as G2 hold the first round.
And that's it. Able to just hold on, even though the first kill gets away from you. That's the kind of stuff we always see from G2. Like, even when it's a 2v4, 2v5 situation, they're also not out of the count. Of course, this one wasn't as close as that, but it's just that ability to keep getting back into these fights, to keep turning these men advantages around and still win the round. I mean, we saw it in Skyscraper in those final 5 rounds. VP got the opening kill like 3 times out of those 5. And every single time, G2 able to turn it around, win the round on the back of it. It just shows the quality they have as a team to not be bothered too much by those entry kills. And by just staying calm, being able to rely on the others, there's individual gun skills to turn themselves back in. A clash on the man who has 3 kills.
And, you know, it's how you angle it, how you play it. Doki on a clash. I'm not going to say that's a common sight.
No, it's definitely not. I'm not used to be seeing that.
No. We see Doki on Heartbreach. We're seeing Doki on a clash. Just going to sort of play and try and hold on to trophy as long as possible. You assume they can be a bit mobile if all the pressure comes onto double window. You've got that as an option as well. But it's, again, it's Doki playing that role, which is, I guess that's the question mark. You're like, huh, okay. Is this Fabian just punishing him?
Like, you are now forced to be playing with the clash. And you're not using the SBS MG9. Very last man standing. Has it out now. So, ready. Disobeying the orders. As VP slowly gathering some ground here. They have the small tower under control, the showers. They're basically having the hallway from the kitchen towards white. But that's where it stops for now. That's where the control halts. That's where the dangers lie, because that's exactly where G2 have members present, able to fight. Shepard playing with the Amaru. Of course, always having the opportunity for the quick zoop in. Actually clearing down below kind of tells me that they might be debating going up the hatch at some point. But it's not a weird sight to see someone clear right underneath the door. Especially grenades could be very useful there. The player inside of security. It's always good to have 2 angles on that person if you're going for a clear, etc, etc.
Well, there's the clash. Sort of saying hello, and Doki goes for the steady rotate back goodbye. There is the one loose player under Freezer. Obviously, unfortunately, we can't go to the ping there, but they're coming up to support the security room player of Ver. There's still the control underneath, and you can sort of see, as you said, Verspro, they're trying to find the route in, and it might be Dan. It's probably not Dan. They seem to have a good awareness of that player, that location. Virtue with the corridor swing supports Blur. They're going to see if they can try and stick the kit. Shepard went up, and now he's just going to hold on. Get the flat dive. The C4 just stops it in time. There's a team kill. But the kid is cold, so, you know, it's a strange way to make an omelet, but you got to smash some eggs. Doki, as the clash pulls themselves back round and pops the shield back on, it's just going to get the zap and the slow, so Blur has time to come up from the back end, but doesn't want to give them the engagement. They seem to have awareness. And Dan hops out, hops around. They're going to hold the angle as Joystick gets one more inside. The clash is able to find Joystick at the top of the stairs. 30 seconds have now gone, and Doki still as the clash after getting one is able to keep themselves going. Blur up around the back stairs to give the clash some support. The shotgun isn't quite able to get the lock. They're going in hard onto it.
Oh, no way!
One more for Doki!
Oh, Doki!
What? No! Come on!
The 360 into the 180. Finding both with the clash. There's going to be a Swede that is very proud of him now, and it's not going to be Fabian. Or maybe there might actually be 2 Swedes very proud of him right now, and it might be also Fabian.
I mean...
What a play.
It's like the start of the round, you're like, they're going to clash, that's new. What's going to happen? A 3K with a 1 versus 2 technical clutch.
I was saying as well, it's like, you know, man, with 3 kills on the clash right now, it's like I can drop 3 kills with a shield.
Come on.
Don't question me.
Come on. I mean,
I get the first, right? Like, the shield's on the back. But then the person on the back, like the person from white, of course, like at the moment Doki kills his teammate, only has a shield to shoot on. So,
I mean,
so
imagine
it buys
being
that time.
anyone in the world and you kill, what was it, Joystick, Dan, and is it always the last one?
I think so, yes.
And you're like, yeah, I killed those 3 players that were playing Clash. What were they on? Oh,
Yeah, and in quick
yeah.
succession as well, by the way, you know. Oh, they were not. No, they were not lined up. They were all on different angles. Of just, you know, just the general clash thing of making some 360s happen.
Phil. All right, well, that's 2 rounds, and Doki's had 2 3Ks in a row. 6 kills after only 2 rounds, and he's been the sort of hot shooter throughout the whole day, throughout the whole series. But it's from height to height right now. There's the approach on the back end. Joystick wasting no time, getting some control down onto Shower.
Sensor there is going to be given away that Joystick wanted to open up, but it's not that anybody's out there to try and challenge him. So, you know, it will just be opened up. It's not going to be challenged whatsoever by G2. The true challenge will be coming through on the actual side, and LMAO just being out of here, getting spotted right now. Instantly followed up. That's what you like to see. And that's going to be an opening. And now, you know, that one player still out in Attic, one still in dorms, are a bit more vulnerable.
Doki's making some motion, just misses the tail end of a drone, but with that open and with 3 players stacked up in an active drone that's, I don't know if it just stopped shy. Oh, there's most of a wing of Pasha, but he knows he can't stick around too much. 4 players, 5 if you count the Shower Corridors player, have surrounded Doki's position at this point. And yes, you're playing for vertical, but not even the man with the with the 6 kills after 2 rounds can get out of that. Dan with Blur on the back end as well, and that suddenly leaves Benja quite isolated. He's going to see if he can do a bit of a retake here over the top, and only 1 player inside side as well. Virtue's going to have to hold on for as long as possible, because with that drone and that reveal, they now know. Gets 1. Could opt for the hatch if he wants to, but look at this. I think they've read just how far away everyone else is, so instead they can maybe focus on the single player.
E4 used and not able to find anything. Benja holding on very tight, steps out, finds another kill. He's been gifted 2 at this very moment. The top floor now being taken by remaining players. Don't tell me he gets a 30. He does not. Virtue, the last man standing now in a 1v3 clutch. He's going to take that top floor under his own control as well. That should be 1 free kill at least. Yes, he does. And now a plant attempt is coming down from Virtus Pro. But with Virtue being up on the top floor, it's going to be very possible for him to try and stop this from happening. 45 seconds on the clock, actually sees a player, goes for the drop, finds the kill, swaps around, not in time to actually grab the shotgun back out from the pocket. And Shepard locks him off, finds that final kill, and VP able to put that one on the board, but that got way too close.
I mean, it was a moment, and I guess after the second round, you're like, is there going to be a moment here? And it was just almost swapping the guns, thinking maybe the player was a bit further away. Again, the fact that they're getting that close on the tertiary site in a 4 versus 2, when they know that one of the players is on the other side of the world. Oh, I mean, G2, they're swinging hard here. And at this point, you know, this round, if it goes the way of G2, which could be likely with how it went before, then you're looking at the next, and at what point you sort of go, when are Virtus Pro going to maybe have a team talk? What is the expected swing on this? A 4-2 isn't that uncommon, but the pace of the game is one where it feels like Virtus Pro are being punished from additional places.
It for sure is. I mean, it kind of shows it how that 5v2 basically came back to a 1v1 in the end. That shouldn't be happening. Even though I discussed it before, I said it before, G2, even if they are 2vx, it's a very likely possibility they can get back into that round and even win it. It's just one of those like rounds portrayed out there. And even though that's due to the fact that VP, they might have been a bit too aggressive on hunting down those players, which have actually cost them 2 kills very early on, you could have just as well held it, right? Like, just hold the way out. There's only a hatch and 1 doorway. You don't actually have to go for the push. You could just hold it and let the rest work on the side, force him to move. Force him to make a mistake. but instead it was 2 1v1s. And that's how VP might get themselves like in trouble in more rounds than one.
Virtus Pro, what do you change? What aspect do you bring here that might give you a little bit more sort of malleability? We saw, as we said early on, the last time they were here, they sort of got the drones into freezer. They got the drones into freezer. They had the awareness of the sort of long-range hold that was otherwise being pressured. And Pasha, he's going to try and get some of the high pressure on. Joystick just gets scraped a bit. It's this sort of slightly taller hold, but this time, Dan gets the opening bout of punish to be delivered to Doki. Twice he's been shut down over these past 2 rounds after pretty much defining the first 2.
He either gets 3 kills or he dies. That's what it is so far. This map. Arciratera used to quickly open up that hatch. Nothing more than that. You know, just one jump and an instant click. It's going to be opening up some extra verticality, some extra avenues to toss utility down, maybe waste some of the ADSs for more important utility to come through, like Pasha's grenades. SVP is going to go around for the rotate now. They need to pick an extra one. One is always great, but if you're attacking the basement, you kind of need a second one. You need that 2-minute advantage so you can continue trading. Or when you start to go for the execute, when you start dropping these hatches, everything needs to be perfect. And now these smokes are coming out. They're going to be blocking some lines of sight. That means a drop might be able to come through, but a smoke canister is going to be stopping that for now. And now you have to make an option, like a choice. Am I going to go with the smoke still out or not?
Yeah, you see the Flores drones sort of trying to lead the pressure in, but as long as Virtus is still in that position, they can't get the full swing that they want. They don't quite have that straight route through. You've almost got to cut it in half, and Ranger cuts it in half, swings around, gets a double from the long range over the stack on the hatch, and you're thinking, well, where's the kit? Well, the players still need to take the site itself. 20 seconds. I'm assuming that's now been collected. It has. Joystick with the rotate round, and Alamal rotates right back. Looks for the next, can't quite get it down onto the side of blue, and with the slight separation, the 2 remaining players have only about 10 seconds to get gathered up, and then you're sort of watching a post plant with, well, 3 players trying to swing onto you. The smokes, the pressure, they get pushed just a little bit further. Joystick can tuck and hold, and Shepard's got to do absolute God's work to get the angle. Gets 1. Gets 2. Shepard gets himself the triple, finds the cover. Blur stuck on the wrong side of a fire engagement, and suddenly this round has gone from a lost cause to something maybe a little bit winnable. Here, Blur, no health. Just sees the end of a player who pulls himself out. They still have 2 bolts. They still have some other breaching charges, but you're probably not going to get as much use out of them as the other way round. Blur, 20 seconds now. And he's trying to retake. He's trying to find just something from one of the 2 remaining Virtus Pro players. But if you're talking to people who know how to clutch, his name is Shepard.
Very well played there by Virtus Pro. First of all, that fire into the freezer, it did so much damage to Blur. He was unable to actually step out and be a bit of a support there. And then G2 going in 1 by 1 again instead of going for the double swing, being punished for it. Well done, cover on point, VP. Everything they needed was there. And they equalized that scoreline. They put us up to 2-2 and even half again. That's what we're looking for here in this matchup. We want to know who's the absolute best in Europe, and that's what these 2 teams are fighting for. We do not want to blow out.
I mean, that was much better there from Virtus Pro at points, but then at the same time, you look at the rotation from Bender over the top, getting the 2 kills, getting things cold inside meeting, and then for Virtus Pro to still win the round out. I mean, it was against odds, but at the same time, they've lost rounds against odds. This map alone, having some of that energy, having some of that momentum, I mean, it's got to be the coolest breath of fresh air.
I mean, like, I'm going to be bringing it back to something different, right? Alamau getting that first kill, instantly sprinting down elbow, being picked up afterwards. It was a bit questionable for me. It's like, I mean, he might have not been aware that there was still someone out there. Maybe they thought it was going to be clear, but as he just came around the corner, instantly picked up, not even been given a fighting chance. That was a 4v2 at that point. If he would have stayed alive, I'm not sure if he had any canisters at that point, but that would have been, like, round changing for G2 there. Either way, what's done is done, and we just continue onwards towards round 5, which we're currently in. VP is continuing on the attack as Pasha is being led in. Drones around, chems are being spotted, and just trying to find that first body to put into the ground. That's going to be his goal.
Pasha seems to have a little bit more of a direct drive over the past couple rounds, and sure, hasn't quite netted the kill, but an A to B system is something where time might have been the cost of them before. Doki's still around split. He was the early loss. Benja's got some support here. Depends which way Pasha goes on how much danger that might be. Popped a bit prematurely. They had the things on it anyway, so they pulled themselves back to some safety there, pulling themselves all the way back to the safety of the site itself. They sort of realized just how much is swarming around them, wasted some time, cost a bit of utility, but the time is the important thing when you're up against Virtus Pro.
Is that they're still afraid of the fact that someone might be around in a big tower, and that's going to be costing a lot of time to actually drone out. I need to make sure that's fully droned because they knew someone was in there, and that's exactly what Push is dealing with now. He face-checked it. There's no one out there. Now they can start focusing on the actual site. And that means 1 minute and 40 seconds have been wasted. 1 minute and 40 seconds have been used. They don't have to worry about that on G2. Just these last 60 seconds are going to be crucial. Spots out that drone, Doki. He has been seen, though, being right below the staircase, and that means he will have to rotate around back towards Shaiko. A bit more of a passive position. Grenade will bounce around the corner and will take him out.
Joystick. He's been able to get a couple of pretty huge, hefty kills down on this line before, and obviously a man of the moment of the previous round. There's the first. Doki gone another time. He's been the early removal from the board. A bit of damage and a bit of scrapping and scraping gone on the far end. The free fire there from Blur just tucks the prisoner out. They have the ping on the player. They have some of the utility to try and force them. The grenade rolls almost perfectly, I was going to say, but Joystick goes down from the swing from the site itself with Pasha getting a bit of revenge. There's the drop right down. They didn't hear it under the chaos, but there's a bit more chaos down on the side of blue. Benja, he's holding close on the door. He's able to get some iconic damage from that position. And now a quick pick back up, but always in Pasha. Get the final.
A bit of lack of information, I think, on G2 again. Benja getting the kill, instantly running out into the open, being caught up. I'm not liking what I'm seeing in terms of like getting the kill and instantly running away, because it's been costing G2 strong positions twice now. And VP with a good attack, by the way, I have to say, like they managed to pull through in the end, so that's nothing taken away from them. I'm just saying, like something like that could have changed around for G2. But VP punishing it perfectly, being in the right position at the right time to do that as well. And now they're leading 3-2. And I know we were talking about even halves, but Virtus Pro now looking to find themselves a 4-round half again.
Honestly, we sort of came into this around the 2-1 mark, and I was like, what if Virtus Pro got to change? You know, if this round goes away, when are they thinking about having a talk? And they haven't needed it. The response over the past 2 rounds from them as a team dynamic has been so much more put together. It's been sharp, it's been punchy, and as you said, it's been punishing. From where you see a bit of a lack of awareness of G2's intel, there's a hole filled by Virtus Pro that's more than happy to demonstrate what they know. They can get themselves a 4-2 half here on their attack. Be a bit dangerous. G2, they're still angling for the potential chance of the 3-3. Obviously not going back down to Laundry. Don't want to try and risk that dance again. Instead, the trip back up to dorms where we saw a clash do some peculiar things, and this time, Doug's unfortunately been a bit silent since then. But to be fair, he's been allowed a breather after the first 2 rounds.
Now, Virtus Pro has played Oregon at this stage before. It was against Heroic. 5 defensive rounds they were able to take, but that was only their second half. To get 2 attacking rounds on their first half. So already doing better than that. And if they manage to get a 4th round and then, portray that defensive skills again, G2 would be in real trouble. So G2 really needing to be finding themselves a 3rd round here in this half right now. Otherwise, it's not looking very bright for them.
Steady attention down into the side of Shao with Dan trying to go for a pinch maybe on the other side. Remember the rotate that we had that came up from Freezer. Remember the loose player once upon a time. Well, they're not going to suffer the same fate. And the fate isn't even in that position. Maybe G2 read that they might have a response to it and didn't want to opt for it. But there's always the chance at going for one of those rotates and maybe even escape. Doki being steadily watched, steadily droned and caught. The pre-fire over the angle and the lean around the soft. Just missed the end of an engagement, can shoot those through it, but a lot dedicated to getting that wall open.
Where's Dan? He's going to be looking onto 90, and look at that. Doki might be about to be leaning back into it. Just a couple steps away from it is going to be... Oh, he's in the classroom, just hiding now. So he might actually be safe for now. Dan is holding off that rotate, and that means the joystick is just free to use these grenades. But as he uses these grenades, it might actually be a bit of a call as well towards Doki to actually come and hunt him down. Instead, he does the wise thing to get it with Benja, and they start rotating back towards the site, knowing they don't need to take that fight as Benja wanted to lean in, but then saw someone out there and quickly had to fall back. But now he's a problem in the middle of VP.
Exactly. You've got always down in shower corridor, or the long corridor, even just behind him. You've got pressure inside shower corridor, and you've got the kid being attempted to be planted. Shepard, he's gone for the same corner he was at before. The smoke is perfect, but he's got enough time to get it and not get out. Caught on the end, but suddenly you're in a post plant. I'm about to get one in the meantime, but there it is. Suddenly, it's back and forth, leaving just always and joystick, the two players. Had the rhythm last time around. Let's see if they can try and get this. The air jab hits it. They're quite far away, watching with a bit of safety on an angle. That's you. Hell of a take there, and joystick. I mean, he's going to be able to get one. He can get two. There's somebody outside as well. He's going to pull the goo mine out. Please, G2. Don't let this one slip through your fingers. There's the bait. There's the fight. There's three. Joystick hops in. There's only a couple of seconds. Joystick!
What's a play?
Unbelievable from the cyborg.
And all he had to do was just watch that diffuser, and the G2 players, they tried to take him down. He was not having any of it. And for a second there, I thought, okay, G2 have this round, right? Like, they killed everybody on site. They could have gone for the defuse, but they were unaware of the fact the last two VP players were so far removed from the site that they needed to rotate all the way around, get back up towards that top floor, find themselves an angle. And by the time they figured it out, joystick was ready. And there's no winning it anymore at that moment in time. 4-2 split. VP in the lead. And now, again, referring back to the game they played against Heroic on March 21st. It's not that long ago. 5 defensive round wins they put on the board. Is that possible to do again? No.
What's possible is you're wondering for all the questions paid of when do they call a timeout.
Yeah.
You wonder if that time has gone and passed, at least for the cost of the first half. G2, they've got a bit of a mountain to climb here, both in terms of what is ahead of them, but in terms of just what they're able to achieve as a unit. It's once again gotten that bit chaotic, that bit lost of an awareness of just what's coming. Here, Alamau, the Monty, straight in with the pings on the player, pushes them even further and further down, drops the cam.
Now, the Monty on the backstairs is not that big of a deal. Like, yes, it's annoying, yes, it's oppressive, but it's somewhat harmless. Because Monty's not just going to be dropping that shield on the middle of the staircase and start aiming down the sides, right? Because it's very easy to hit, like, both the legs in the head at that point. He's just going to be there, feed some information. There's nothing really more happening at that point. The rest of G2 in the meantime is just going to be doing as much as they can to open up all these hatches, make sure there's absolutely no roamers around that could be coming back to them in the end. And after that, they start putting down pressure on other sides. Think of the freezer, think of laundry, think of the hatch and electrical, maybe even barrels. Now, barrels hasn't really received any pressure, and that means that the entirety of Elbow is going to be an extension from the sites that VP can use.
Doki, ready on the shoulder here of Alamau, who wants to try and put the fight down onto Freezer. As I said, with this sort of long extension, he played it as like a double open with a shield on the back line, which we see a lot of teams do. Here, they have a little bit more wiggle room, especially with the Monty. Just be that front force, that hefty, solid steel face of an approach, and that Shepard's going to try and slow down. Bit of a blind, bit of a flash over the top, but a bit of damage done to Dan, who's sort of went for a bit of a cheeky swing there. But you can see Benja prepped up and ready on the back end. They have a minute, they have a bit of a stretch, and the kit is in the pockets of Blur, trying to make its way here down towards Laundry itself. But Shepard about to be under pressure with Alamau right up and close. The smoke is going to force him back and back and back and back, and look at how low his health has just gotten.
Still going to be another smoke canister they can use to get rid of him. That pops, I believe, might have just been shot out. Alamau very stuck right now. Benji, in the meantime, coming in from the back stairs. He's looking to clean up. If he finds 1 or 2, that would be the end of this round for the side of Virtus Pro. Smokes soon to come in as well. Doki already having to cross a plant is very much possible here for G2.
Smokes cover and Benja goes down, and suddenly it's starting to flicker a little bit Russian, but with a couple of bodies brought back by G2 and inside the site as well. They're going to see if they can hand it back. No! Caught from the swing round, always! Gets a double down in the deep corridor, and Pasha with the last! Virtus Pro, they take their hold. They held onto the site, locked down, and from that point onwards, G2 just could not find a clear route in.
That's been the issue there, and now the tactical timeout is going to be coming out. Fabian, you have proven to be successful with your timeouts. What do you say now?
Oh, it's got to be a top 10 speech. It's got to be more than that.
I hope it's been recorded, so we can just post that on our socials right afterwards. With probably some bleeps, but, you know. All right. VP, you're so close to be proving you're the best in Europe currently. And of course, yes, for those of you watching, there is less at stake in this game than there was from before, for example, Wild M&M, because that was a direct major spot. This is just first seed, some SI points, and a lot of money. But who doesn't love extra money? Who doesn't love extra SI points? And who doesn't love to get the first seed of a region? Especially with only 2 stages around this year. You'd be the best in Europe for half a year.
That's true. That's how it works. You ain't lying.
So, when I was talking about the wrestling belt in the Siege Championship.
Yeah.
Remember that? So G2 back then lost it to Virtus Pro. VP has lost it to BDS. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, maybe they could take it back. VP's lost another game since.
There's a lot of... I mean, yeah, I think your wrestling belt analogy...
Doesn't work need out. To have I was just going to be
you
pulling
need to
out.
have it prepared. You gave it okay. 5-2. I mean, as I said, it's got to be a world-class team talk. Luckily, they have a man who can deliver it. And what's going to be the change up here onto Dorms? A site of a little bit of embarrassment for both teams. The Clash 1v3 all the way back in round 2, and then, wow, the joystick 4K on a double window, and he just kept on picking body after body after body. You kind of need Blur to start trying to find some of that access. Obviously leading in with the kit and getting it, but you look and you talk about how the spread of kills has been so even between all of these 10 players. One slightly behind the pace of everybody else is going to feel a lot worse when we've had it in obviously the previous map in the map just before, but with some quick attention paid onto Armory. You've got pressure on the double window. They're getting themselves droned into bedroom. They're looking to see if they can maybe pinch out a player quite quick here.
We're trying to see if there's any drones. Some explosions are going off and dealing small amounts of damage, but not enough to get any kills on the board yet. Would have been a huge pick as well onto Shepard. Playing with those smokes. It's always nice to take out a smoke very early on in the round because it just buys you, like, it might sound weird, but it buys you 45 extra seconds on the clock. And it's not like suddenly an extra 45 seconds will appear. As always, we'll take down Elmouse. The entry kill comes from Benja coming around the corner though, instantly finds Dan. Always leaning back in. Instantly taken out. Beautiful sharp shot from Benja.
Well, it's finally having a bit of an impact, but we're still finding ourselves in this 3 versus 3. As I said, it's an even game. You need to try and have all your guns firing on an even level here, and they rotate their way back around. They'll go for a slightly down and out push here. Pasha has the read, the full taste of just what's coming through, and just gets that steady pop on the pings of the player, the hold and the position there. How do they know how close Blur is, and can they try and put some definition onto the player itself? They're trying to find loose threads. With 50 seconds and with where Pasha is, he can pull back. He can sort of hold this for as long as possible. It seems like the Nook wants the fight, so he's going to get it either way, because they've got to clear the player. Will he just hold on and wait? There's only so much time. Time is that resource.
Talking about the smoke in an extra 40 seconds. Another canister just popped up. That's going to be locking off The doorway for 15 is Joystick very close to losing his life there, but the grenade just blowing up a little bit too early. Actually opened up a bit of an opportunity to go for a fight here. Benja taking small amounts of damage. Nothing too major yet. Somehow Blur not able to lock it up either, as he literally just stood up in his line of sight. And Blur now are very close of trying to go get the plant ready. Virtue taking a shotgun shell. It's so chaotic here on G2's side.
There it is, Blur. You've got to be in a position to hold the plant. Joystick's able to get one more. They've got themselves tucked in the corner. They've retake right across. Blur's able to find one. There's Blur with the second, a 1 versus 1, but he's got to try and get this kit down. Pasha is on the motion and he should be able to get that swung. Virtus Pro sit on map and series point.
That must have been such a scary round for G2 because they were trying to make themselves ways through, and then like a pre-fire happens through the floor, a shotgun shell suddenly blasts like a giant hole into the wall, and you take like half your HP worth of damage, and you're like ready to lean back into the fight, but no one is really like showing themselves anymore on VP. They're just holding back whenever they need to. And as we head towards meeting in kitchen now, VP, you can lock it off here. First in Europe. And I would have loved to have an interview with them right now if that would have been the case.
I guess that's the sad thing is, you know, we unfortunately in the pre-recorded multiverse that we find ourselves sitting in, we cannot quite get the full conversation. We cannot get that full breakdown of just what they're talking about. So I'm sure they'll have plenty of words to say. Hey, maybe they'll be making winners interviews at the major itself. There's a stage.
Just win the major,
will be. Just win the major. If they can keep some of the plays and some of the energy that they've had, especially over the run through the end of the split and sort of here now, because it's just getting deadlier and deadlier in my books. G2. A couple of rounds ago, I said you had a mountain. Now it's a couple more mountains all stacked on each other with a wonderful skyline. You've got to try and clear yourself up into the air. It's getting thin, my friends. What do you have in the canisters to try and carry you across? A tertiary site might be something that helps. If you can try and get a foot in here, and then you go for the push elsewhere.
As chems are gained to gain information, just looking for drones to roll through. Nothing is really being given yet. G2, they know what's at stake. They know they need to get 4 consecutive, basically flawless rounds. As Benja was looking to go for below, they might just go for a very simple take here. Take control of the back of stage. Let's see what you can do from there. Benja down below to stop any C4s from flying through. And as Dan quickly checking with the Solace gadget to see if there's any electronics out where, you know, able to just spot where these drones would be. And that wall will be opening up. There's nothing Shepard can do about that, and that means that a plant could be on the board soon, but there's not enough control yet. So that's what G2 will be working towards now. Start taking Attic under control so that hatch will not be used against you. Then start making sure you have someone down below so no C4s will start flying at you. And then you need to make sure there's no one playing in this closed sandbag corner that currently, I believe, it was Shepard hiding in. Now, Benja's already below, so they have that covered off. Means there's only 2 things left to do before they can go for a safe plant.
Is the blinds and the pressure coming out over the top. That grenade just will miss the full catch onto Shepard, and any follow-ups. That one just makes him survive as well. You saw the red for a second, and Shepard, somebody is watching over him and just batting those grenades an extra step out of place. 50 seconds and not a kill on the back. A lot of damage, but you need more than that. Doki, he's eyeing up the point of pressure. Shepard's still in this power position with a C4 as well. Joystick does get Doki over the top. Alamau suffers, but gets the kill on the back end of it. Pasha's holding on to split. You can see they've generally got themselves fully propped up here with only Benja as the loose. What can he do, and can he do it? Pasha's holding a close angle. They're holding one just on the other side, separated but by a thin wall of brick and mortar and a big old American flag staring them down. He does not know they're behind him. He might be about to find out. There it is. There's the catch. There's one more down. Swings onto the side for Blur. Wins it out. And Alamau gets a very important kill with Virtue having the cover. Suddenly it's Dan in a technical 3 versus 1. Where's the kit? There's the planter. Just gets it in time. 6 seconds. Pulls back. Tucks for the swing. Finds the first. Cannot find the second.
You're unaware of the fact that someone's still coming around on the opposite side of green. It's about to be clutching it out, but just not enough. G2 did everything they needed to do there. They were trying to, get that control for stage early on. And that's exactly what they needed to do. Is just that, that player out on the attic first, able to put up some damage first, get that one kill, instantly traded out by Alamau. After that, able to get the sandbags killed. That's all they needed. That's all they needed to go for that plant. And so they did. And now G2 have won out of those 4 rounds. They need to win flawlessly. There's no more room for mistakes. But we head back towards that basement. Towards the site they've struggled with. And they need to find a good round here as well. They need to start building their own momentum. They need to start getting things to go their way. And that 1 round is a start, for sure. But they need 3 more of those.
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? You're looking at that sort of tertiary site, you're looking at that sort of tertiary place, and you've got to try and make the magic happen now on ones that are famously more protected, famously a little bit more to work with. What do? Bring a blitz. See if the blitz can be that driving force. Alamau. Oh, it's like they knew what I wanted to talk about. They'll find themselves going for maybe some pace, was tempted by the drive down onto dirt, which is where you'll generally see the most common take, but generally if they're doing that, they'll have a lot of people around them to support it as well. Swing yourself down onto blue, put the pressure and force them to have to lock it a lot earlier on elbow than they otherwise would have had to.
Drone's making sure there's no one left on that top floor here for G2, which will allow Benja to just walk in for free. It's going to be trying to cover as much ground as quickly as possible and then start descending. You should really see him on that first floor here on the main stairs. Him and Doki probably going to be putting up on both their respective staircases. Please take out some utility. Just make sure they are blind. Take out their eyes. So you have that more freedom afterwards.
The pressure starts to trickle its way down from the top there. Hoping that they can get a bit of an eye and a bit of a catch here. Virtue with the Maverick over the top line. An operator who obviously doesn't see the most amount of play, but in this particular site, on this particular push, getting some control over the hatches without the fear of too much of a direct repercussion. Something that they'll take quite happily. It came down to a bit of an attempted shove last time entirely on the freezer side. This time they've opted for something that might give them a little bit more stability.
Where the blitz is currently, because push is starting to shape up here, and I believe it's the Alamau in the back just running over towards barrels, towards blue. Indeed, there they are. Actually, like we have a live observer at this moment in time. Shepard might be ready for it. Has smoke canisters. There's a drone very closely. Here's the Gemini replicator, but that might be a bit of a bait. As this grenade rolls through, it might be that blitz just leading the charge and causing some panic on the VP side of things. But if Alamau dies very early on, it's game over as well, because Always now very close on Chico.
That's it. It's going to have to come down to a bit of a brawl down here, and with Shepard holding onto one angle, Virtue down on the hatch itself, and ready for the E-box pressure, they've got players all isolating. However, it's 3-2-1 count and 30 seconds left, and Virtus Pro preemptively putting down their control. There's a slight rotate down tucked towards the bottom of the stairs, a smoke canister, and another 10 seconds have passed without the motion. Alamau goes in close, goes in entirely blind, and gets the kill on the back of it. Doki suddenly pops up with Alamau inside the site. A 4 versus 2. 15 seconds, but they've got to make sure that when the kit comes down, it is clean. The blitz keeps on chugging through the site, but with Joystick getting one more, it's the dance in G2. Throw themselves another round here down on the basement. That distance of 6-2 has gotten thinner and thinner.
Was definitely closing up, and some good use of the blitz there. Alamau for a very long time in the round. Basically, they did not know what operator he was on up until those final few seconds when, the smoke dissipates. That was the third. There's nothing left. Now we start running. That's when, as Des would say, the Nina comes in. That was a long time ago. And manages to just sweep them up. And it's so overwhelming because you basically saw it out there, right? Like, Shepard, he was playing it close. He wasn't right behind the shield for the majority of that time. Wasn't expecting that blitz to just come around the corner. Because otherwise you would have kept some of those smoke canisters, or you would have actually tossed them inside of the blue hallway to deal some damage, some chuck damage as they come through. Maybe you would have even closed off the walls so he wouldn't have been able to go all the way through. So very well done on G2 on keeping that hidden for a very long time, up until the last very moment when it was necessary to bring out the blitz in full force. A replay of the bottom floor now.
Yeah, back to the bottom floor. Back to the ground, back to seeing where they made it happen before, and you know, G2, they're trying some fresh ideas. That was very much, as I said, a countered push, and it came together. The Blitz being able to get that at the perfect time when they were right up close, and it's the shotgun gamble, isn't it? If it's anyone else in that situation, there's a much higher chance you'll get the kill, but it's the person that has that little bit extra sheet metal in front of their face that allows them to survive some of the buckshot from a foot away. The different route, the Flores, to pluck out those players. Always a powerful operator in this situation and location. And when you're looking at all the Banshees, obviously the setup they've got around the back, and hey, who's that? Well, a response to maybe all the blinds that was thrown before. Dan has himself those glasses that can be a perfect response to any of the attempted flash swings from the 9 they have in pocket.
Our Sirotero is going to be clearing up some barbed wire. Doki doesn't have to give away his positions, just holding tight. Like, you kind of want to hide yourself, you kind of want to play it tight, so if someone just steps out of boundaries, just steps out of line, you might get yourself that entry kill, or at least some entry damage. I'll help you later on. And G2, as they're opening up the hatches again, they're shaping themselves up, the rotations are starting to come around towards barrels and blue. Because again, that pressure is crucial if you want to go for a hedge drop. You cannot go for that drop if there is no one on the opposite side to protect you from the E-box wall. Because otherwise you have to cover 4 angles at the same time. So Doki going over to barrels right now, he's going to be making sure that's one less to worry about.
And there it is, the cover of the flashes. The grenade does find the first onto Pasha. Benja's been able to take a body, and they're looking to try and hammer home a couple more. They've surrounded the drop and the hatch. They're all down onto the opposite side, and Dan, hyper aggressive here, holding and hoping that somebody just goes for the swing, not expecting somebody to be able to see behind it, but there it is, perfect reveal. Dan tears the head off of Alamau, and Doki moves in the wake of that anyway. The fight on the stairs goes into the favor of Virtus Pro as well, and there's one more.
Always.
Down on the swing of Shaiko, the 4 versus 2 always pops in, but Benjamaster 2 for 2 on his grenades to kills this round. We've seen a 2-body clutch on this site before, but from the side of the Russians. This time it's Blur that's trying to lead it back in. It's Dan. He's held himself a little bit further back, tucked into the cubby, and steadily revealed Blur. They might try and go for the plant here. There is still 1 C4 in pocket. There's a risk. There's a smoke canister as well. Benja has got himself so aggressively close, hoping they go for the full lead through. But look, the steady reveal of the bulletproof tucked onto the other default plant spot. They know the game that's being played here. And at what point do you have to just try and take the fight and hope for the swing? Because there's shotguns tucked so close. There's another reveal. There's another bit of motion. All the weight of the world is on the shoulders of Benjamaster right now as Blur. He goes down, and it's Virtus Pro that go right up.
The injure of the smoke canister, the shotgun blast around the corner. VP, they played that patiently. They had the information. They knew what was going on, and they played that into perfection. Able to get themselves the win here on Oregon. They are confirmed the best team in Europe for stage 1.